you can't change the human element. So that's my strong opinion. And that's where I think as hospitality, we do shine as you said it, right? Like we all got into this more for an experience or more for the love of hospitality. We didn't get into this because we like a PMS, And so I think that tech can grow and evolve, but if you don't have the people backing it that you can really trust, I think that's where the stickiness comes in our industry specifically.
You're listening to Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast, a podcast for those who are in and around the hospitality industry who love, live, and breathe what they do. You can join us for candid and unscripted conversations with hospitality experts and founders as we go deeper into their personal stories while they're sharing their triumphs and trials that got them to where they are today. I'm your host, Will Slickers, and you're listening to an episode of Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast. Now, let's begin. All right. Good morning, Slick Talkers. Today, I have Jasmine Seliga, who is the co-founder of Fixify, a platform that helps hotels and hospitality professionals efficiently evaluate and connect with technology vendors. This is a hot topic, Jasmine, as I think everyone in hospitality is over inundated with tech.
Yeah.
So let's jump in. I want to hear more about you and your story before we go into Fixify. Where does everything begin for you? How did you get into hospitality?
Oh man. Okay. I like that. Buckle up. No,
Here we go.
So I've always been in hospitality and that's interesting how this happened. I went to any of my Texans on the call. I went to Baylor University, Waco, Texas, go Bears. And I had a very strong passion and I was very determined that I was going to go into medical sales, which is so funny now. And so leaving college, I was interviewing, I'm trying to break into these different jobs. And I even interviewed with like an accounting software in Oklahoma to see if I could get experience there, whatever. And now I think it's providential, but at the time I was so frustrated and I could not get a job. Now, this was also leading into recession and things we couldn't foresee. So it was just hard. And I called my dad one day I'll never forget, I'm in the parking lot of the university. It's, December timeframe. And I said, I just cannot secure a job. And I'm a worker. I've been working since the day I was legally able to work at 16. And my dad said, or 15 or whatever. And he said, well, you can't move home without a job. So what's your plan? And so he calls me later and said, I have a connection to a marketing company. They do marketing for hotels. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the job? And he's like, intern. And I'm like, Dad, very entitled.
Like intern or unpaid job.
Yes. And he actually said the words, you don't have any other options. So I find you, he's like, I found you a job, paid internship. And I live with him for that now. So I move home. Very long story short, I graduate college on May 12th. May 14th, I started this company. So this company is called Digital Alchemy. Many people listening will know it. And we did marketing software for luxury boutique hotels. And what started as an internship, I ended up in the end of it all, the VP of sales for that company and helped sell the company to Travel Quick and ultimately Amadeus. So my big plans to break out into this other industry were completely changed. Pretty much, I think 2-3 weeks into that, I was told you're going to high tech in Baltimore. And I'm thinking, what? I didn't even know anything, but because of the kindness of my CEO at the time, I stayed. I never wanted to leave our industry. So that's kind of my fun backstory of how I got here, at least into our industry.
I love it. And that's quite the journey, I would say, because Amadeus is no small giant in our industry when it comes to hotel technology. Yeah. So where does that lead you into the moment of a Fixify? Because obviously developing your own algorithm to matchmake technology and hoteliers and like all this stuff, it's no easy feat. So how did that kind of ideation come about?
Yeah. How did I go from intern to where I'm at? So when we sold to Travel Click, and then, so I guess I have to weave in one personal detail here is I had 2 back-to-back babies. So I have 3 sweet little boys at home. Those first two were born in 1 year apart, and we had 2 acquisitions. So like by the
Wow.
time Amadeus acquired, I mean, I'm just tired, So I end up stepping back on my own. They were wonderful to us as a team during that whole process. And I just needed a moment. And I always tell people this because that I wouldn't have been here if I didn't do that. So in that moment, right, that 18 months I stepped away, I did not work at all. And I got an offer from my co-founder, Stephanie, to help with some consulting work at her company. And I started to think, well, I could do this. I could consult. And that really is a way to use the things I love and my experience. Well, as I started consulting, I started getting a lot of inquiries from software companies asking me, do you know any hotels looking for our technology? How can you connect us? How can we set up a partnership? And so that's where my idea came from is, as by the 5th, 6th, 7th conversation of a vendor saying, please help us join our ambassador program, whatever, I started to realize there's a real need in our industry. And that's not even touching the hotelier need, right? Hoteliers need to navigate technology. So I had this crazy idea of a Fixify, and that was November 2021 that I said, we need to do something about this. And it took, we're a bootstrap company, so it took all of till June 2024, if you can believe it, for us to fully launch. But in that time, right, worked with my team, got a developer on board, and here we are. So that's kind of how we got here.
Walk me through these last 3 years then. So from 2021 to 2024 June of this year, that's a lot to build. So what does it look behind the scenes, I guess? What does the behind the Wizard of Oz curtain look like when it actually comes to building something like this? Because I do know how much of an issue this is. Not only did you see it from the inquiries coming in, but I just know how many hoteliers or any hospitality entrepreneur that is running a property or multiple properties, they're always asking these questions in the sense of technology, efficiencies. How do you make sure that they're actually good partners and they integrate with each other? They're not just going to tell you it's on their roadmap in the next 6 months to do this feature that you really need. Like there's so many pieces that go into it. So you've had to build out this whole technology piece that can actually matchmake and kind of, I hate to steal your quote when we did our pre-chat, but like kind of be like a Tinder for hotel tech.
Yeah.
So, or like maybe a Bumble's a better app to reference rather than Tinder, because Tinder sucks. But that's just my personal opinion as a single dude who is trying to date in Denver. But yeah, I just think there's so much to build behind the scenes, especially if you're bringing on a developer and you're building this team without even going to full market. So yeah, kind of give us a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah. So it's funny that you say that, because I think it really is kind of this, when you're a startup, and especially for what we're doing, it's really cool to get the level of traction we've gotten so quickly, but that doesn't come without a lot of work on the back end. So honestly, what makes us tick is this whole validation process that we have, where we actually so let's just start from the beginning. A vendor's interested, right? A vendor wants to be listed, so to speak. We don't just give the vendor free reign to sign up and go add their features to be matched to a hotel. We validate those. So kind of like imagine a dream dating app that validated like, oh, you say this is your job, or, this is whatever. I've actually never been on a dating app, but we validate the things that they say are real, and then they can be part of the platform. So that takes, as you can imagine, an arduous amount of energy for the team, but it's very worth it. And we've had advisors say you should drop that because that's a big task. How do you scale that? But we really don't have an interest in dropping that because it creates that trust. So behind the scenes, there's a lot that goes on to even get someone listed in the platform. And then honestly, the real interesting part is that we're in an industry that is a little bit technology shy. We know this. I think other industries are a lot quicker to adopt. For hospitality, it always surprises me that even though we're kind of this middleman helper platform, it still takes hoteliers time to adjust to the idea that like they can log in and try us out. So there's just a constant chicken and the egg of us making sure we have the right vendors, but we're also building that hotel volume. And so I don't know if that answered your question, but it's a lot of work. Plus making sure that we're open to new ideas, new ways of doing things. We're an agnostic tech, so our algorithm can be used in any industry, which is cool for the future. But obviously, we want to stay focused in hotels right now.
All right, Slick Talkers, sorry to interrupt. As you know, Great partners at Minute have sponsored this episode. They sponsor the show. So every episode is filled with amazing minutes. No pun intended. So if you don't know who Minute is or what they do, we see that we have a lot of new Slick Talkers out there in the world. So one, thank you for tuning into the show. Every listen, every time you hit play means so much to me and to my team. So thank you. But if you are new, Minute is an amazing noise detection device. Not only do they measure noise decibel levels inside of your vacation homes or your hotels, they actually can detect smoke. Not only that, if you're an outdoor kind of a unique stay person or just have an amazing outdoor amenities for your guests, from pools to hot tubs to cookout pads, all the stuff, they have an outdoor sensor that is specifically made for outdoor noise, because I didn't know this, but noise outside and noise inside actually makes a difference. So you don't have to worry about constantly making sure, are people partying at your place? Are the